Have you ever been to an amazing location at the right time of day, but still didn't get the spectacular image you'd hoped for? Perhaps the sky didn't light up or was simply just too plain? Or maybe you came away with dull gray water and an overall drab looking image due to the conditions? Not to worry, I have a quick solution for you. I'm Darlene with Digital Photo Mentor, and in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use two of Luminar Neo's newest tool, Twilight Enhancer AI and Water Enhancer AI. Individually, they're great, but together, they pack a wallop. They deliver a 1-2 knockout punch that will make your image pop. So if you're ready to see how to use these two tools to bring your dull images back to life, let's get started. Let's get right into it. I've closed up all of the panels that I'm not using, and I've just got the landscape section opened. This is a new one that's been added to the most recent update for Luminar Neo. If you don't see the landscape tools, make sure that you check for updates and update the software if you need to. You can see that my version is current. So let's go right to the Twilight Enhancer first. When you first open it, you'll notice that there is a pull down and a series of presets available for you to use. All these do is set the sliders down below to set amounts. They're fully editable, so you can choose a preset and then tweak it a little bit to your liking. Let's see what golden does. Pretty nice right out of the gate without any adjustments, right? So usually what I'll do on an image like this is just check all of the presets and decide on which color I like for this particular image. I'm kind of torn between this mauve one and emerald. Blue enhances the blue hour tone that's already there, so I could also go with that one. So these choices are really personal and depend on the image you're applying it to. I'm going to go with emerald because it enhances the complementary colors and gives a bit more yellow into the sky. So we've got that orange-yellow play with the blue water and the blue sky. Now we need to refine it a little bit. You'll notice there are several sections to this tool below the first part. Let's go through them one by one. In the first section that's automatically opened, you'll see the amount slider, which is the strength of the effect, and the exposure. The preset that I chose has placed the exposure to the left, meaning it's darkening the sky. If we want it brighter, we just need to take it this way. Keep in mind though, if you want more intense color, you need to keep it a little bit darker. So I'm going to go somewhere around -75. In the next section down, just click the little down triangle to open it. You see the temperature and tint sliders. This is where you can adjust the color of the top part of the sky. Here you can see that it's set towards the blue end and green end of the respective scales. If I want more magenta, I just have to adjust this one. If I want more yellow, let's go this way, or blue, this way. Actually, I do like a little bit more yellow. Let's go with that. Let's close up the sky section and move down to the next one, which is called Dawn. What this one is doing is adding a strip of color at the horizon. So it's adding this yellow area here. I also recommend opening mask refinement at the same time because you need to make sure that the horizon placement is accurate. This slider down here under mask refinement, sky horizon, allows you to position it higher or lower. So I want to get it so that it's matching the true horizon across the water here of the cityscape. And if you're wondering, no, this is not my image. It's a stock image that I got from Unsplash. If you want to download and follow along with the same image, I'll put a link to that one for you in the description area below. Now that I've got the horizon placed, we can go and play with the dawn sliders. So once again, amount, see how it's affecting that midsection? The size, you can narrow it by going to the left or make the center color wider. I like it somewhere in the middle. Adjust the temperature and the tint, just like the top section. So you notice that there's two areas where you can set the color. Sky affects the top part and dawn affects the lower part of the sky, closer to the horizon. And likewise, exposure again. So if we want to darken this part and get a bit more color, we can do that. That looks good. You may have noticed there's some issues with masking around this area here. We haven't finished all the masking sliders yet, so let's take a look at those. These are very similar to what you'll find in the Sky AI tool. Sky Global will take the effect that you're applying and push it out to more of the original image. So the higher we take this global slider, the more it covers over the original sky. See how it solved some of those issues around the buildings there? Let's just go along the horizon and make sure there isn't any more problems. That looks better. You can also blur the sky if you want. In this case, I don't need to. And fix gaps will bring things back like TV antennas or the ends of branches that have been cut off when you increase global. In this case, I think the fix gaps is fine. I find that if you increase it, you end up with some missing bits again. So find a balance with the Sky Global and the fixed gap sliders so that you have a realistic blend of the twilight sky. One thing I want to caution you about here is to make sure to zoom in and back out again to check all aspects of the sliders. Because it looked fine zoomed in over here, but look what's happening over here now. It's doing some weird masking bits back again in the sky. So this fixed gap slider is affecting this area. I'm just going to bring it back down. Aha! Now you can see the sky is reflecting more in the water as well. And if I go this way, we get less of the reflection. Let me come back to that in a moment. Okay, so play with the fixed gap slider and get the best option for each image. There really isn't one setting that's going to do the trick for everything. I'm happy with that. Let's close up Mask Refinement and Dawn and take a look at the last two, Scene and Reflection. The amount of reflection is going to bring more of that sky, color, and brightness into the water. I'm just going to go a little bit. Do you remember when I darkened the sky earlier? I said there was a fix for that if the image got too dark. It's right here under Scene, this shade slider. If we take it to the left, it's actually lifting the shadows or brightening them. So if we're worried about the water and the city skyline getting too dark, we can just lift it with this shade slider. So there's a balance here between overall exposure on the sky and the shade slider. So it's that photo editing dance between the two again. Saturation, if you bring that down, it's mostly affecting the rest of the image other than the sky. Okay, so this is the rest of the scene. I like to leave it high. If there are people in the scene, try adjusting this slider here, Relight Human. And finally, feathering. I'm not 100% sure what this one is doing, but I've noticed that it's sort of affecting the blend in the middle here. Again, this has to do with the overall original scene. So I've noticed that the color comes across more when the feather is high and less when the feather is low. So play with that one as well to get the effect that you want. Let's take a look at the before and after. This is one tool, remember? And we haven't even looked at the second tool yet. So let's do that now. Close the Twilight Enhancer and let's open Water Enhancer. There's no presets here, but to activate the tool, just drag the amount slider up. If you want to learn more about the Water Enhancer tool and how to use it, check out this video. I'll put a link in the description for you as well. So now I just need to get the color dialed in. I think I'm going to use this depth slider a little bit. Now, one tip I gave in my other video was to lower the contrast slider if you want a less intense effect. You can also see where it is going, and if you want to fix any spots that it got wrong, you can draw or erase. I'm actually just going to draw all the way over these posts, so it's affecting everything in this foreground. I'm not too worried if they go a little blue. Let me toggle this tool off so you can see before applying the water enhancer and where we're at now. Are you starting to see how the Twilight and the water enhancer AI tools go together really well, especially on images like this where you have both sky and a blue hour and water. Let's look at the full before and after. Again, just a reminder, this was only 2 tools. You could still use all the rest of the tools in the Luminar Neo arsenal and keep going. But let's look at another example. Going back to the catalog, I've got a few images that I've already done some work on and some that I haven't. So what I'm going to do is copy and paste these settings from the image I just edited. You can just right-click and choose copy or Command-C on the keyboard. Then I'm going to select this image and paste it using this option here just so you can see what's happening. Immediately you can see that it's done a pretty good job. I have a few more tips for you, but before I continue with the second half of the video, I just want to tell you about our Digital Photo Mentor Sky Pack. You can get our Ultimate Sky Pack available on our website. You get 50 high-resolution sky replacement images to use inside Luminar Neo. The Sky AI tool is in the landscape section now also. If you stick around to the end of this video, I'll show you how sky replacements come into play with these 2 tools as well. So stick around. Let's continue where we left off. Remember, all I did here was copy and paste the adjustments from the other image onto this one. And now we've got the before and after. As always, all you have to do is go into the Edit tab next to Tools, and you can see the tools that were applied, Twilight Enhancer and Water Enhancer. Now you can adjust the color and any of the other settings to match this image. I think it's actually pretty good, but let's just see what happens if we pick a different preset. Golden looks pretty good as well. Then just check the Water Enhancer settings and see if you're happy with those. I think in this case, I will give it a little bit more green than blue. And as I mentioned earlier, you can continue editing from here. So I might try the Sky Enhancer and the Accent AI tool. And finally, I might just add a quick vignette to the edge of the image and straighten it because I think it's a little bit crooked. So how long did that take me to go from the original to this one? Less than a minute, a quick copy and paste, a couple of tweaks, Enhancer AI, a crop, and it's done. So keep in mind that the Twilight Enhancer AI and the Water Enhancer AI tools work really well together. I have done some experimenting, and sometimes I find that it's better to do the Twilight tool first and then the Water tool. Because the Twilight tool tends to darken the water, then you have the opportunity to lighten it with the Water Enhancer, and other times it works better the other way around. So again, there is no one answer to which is the best way to do it. You have to try it on each individual image and see what works best. And of course, we can save this as a preset. So I can just click down here, save preset, and give it a name. I'm going to call it Golden Twilight C, because then the name of the preset will remind me that this one is good for images that contain water. One other thing you need to be aware of is that anytime you're doing a copy and paste, sync, or applying a preset, the adjustments will overwrite any edits you've previously done to that image. Let me show you. On this image of the mountain scene, I've done a little bit of editing to darken the edges, the sky, and to clone out a few things in the sky that I felt were distracting. Now, if I paste using Command or Control V on the keyboard, it pastes in the same setting that I copied earlier. Now you can see that the erasing of the bits in the sky that I had done to remove these distracting clouds has been undone. So just keep in mind, if you're going to do any erasing or cloning or any other kind of editing, do it after you paste or apply your preset. Then edit to your heart's content. Something else to note is when you're working on an image like this that has a lot of haziness, don't go overboard with the sky editing. If you try and do something like this, that doesn't work so well. You can try and refine the mask and bring it down a little bit, or lower the amount of dawn here. But I've noticed that even if I bring the dawn slider all the way to 0, you can see it's still applying this white line at the horizon. So what you have to do is lower the exposure as well. See that? Now I got rid of that dawn completely. You don't want to go overboard, so keep things really subtle. Now when I drag this exposure slider down on the dawn section, you can see that it's affecting the dawn, and then the amount slider has to come down as well. So it's both of those things if you want to turn off the dawn effect. In this image, I'm just going to make it really subtle. I just want a faint glow on the horizon. Something like that. There's a before and after. Remember, the shade slider can lighten up the shadows and likewise brightening the sky. So there's that dance between the exposure slider for the sky and the shade slider here in the scene section. I'm going to go with something like that. There's a before and after. So again, just a reminder on images like this that are hazy, keep it a little bit more subtle on the edits. You can also use the other tools in the landscape section and add some fog using the atmosphere tool. So that brings me to the bonus tip. I've kind of already hinted at it, and that is to use all the tools in the landscape section to enhance your images, even if it's not a landscape image. Let me show you a couple of examples where I took it to the extreme. Here's the original image. Let me show you each step that I applied one by one. First, a sky replacement using Sky AI. Then, Twilight Enhancer to intensify the sky that I've just added. Water Enhancer to bring back the color in the water. In this case, I also used the Erase tool to get rid of some power lines. Atmosphere AI to make it appear as if there's a little bit of mist coming off of the water. The Landscape tool itself, which includes Golden Hour and Dehaze to punch it up even more. And finally, Sun Rays. I didn't really need this one, but I wanted to challenge myself and see if I could use all of the landscape tools on one image. And I did. There's the full before and after. In this final example, I used Sky AI to put in a new sky, Twilight Enhancer, and the Water Enhancer to come up with this final dramatic image. Is it realistic? Maybe not so much, but I think it's pretty believable as an actual image. If I didn't tell you that I did all those things, would you know? Let me know in the comment area below if you've tried these new tools together yet. If you'd like more learning experience for these and other tools inside the software, check out Luminar Neo, the complete course. I'll be adding lessons for the new tools soon. You can also stick around on YouTube and watch another video. Just click one on the screen now. Until next time, take care and keep practicing.